Carbon is one of my favorite games in the franchise, alongside Most Wanted and Underground 2. And no, it wasn't the first game in the franchise that I've played. That would go to Need for Speed 2 SE on my Windows 98 computer that my father had brought from work. I mean, I don't know why he brought it from work, but I was so excited at the fact that I actually forgot about it. In 2016, I had just learned that Need for Speed Carbon had the Koenigsegg CCX and the Pagani Zonda in the game, and I began to search far and wide for that game, just for those cars. I asked people in school and no one had a copy, or the disc was severely scratched. So one Saturday during school holidays, my parents and I went to a mall for something. I don't know, clothes maybe? I can't remember. And I split from my parents to my favorite store, BT Games. Now, okay, BT Games is kind of like GameStops in South Africa, but many of the stores closed down, so I was searching through the PS2 games and I found a copy of the game. I was so happy that I ran to my parents for some money so that I could buy the game. My father eventually gave me the money after several hours of begging and pleading. I mean, to be quite honest, my father shouldn't have given me the money. I did really bad in maths that time. As soon as I bought the game and when we reached home, I had put up the PS2 and searched far and wide for the cars and found nothing. Only to realize that I needed the collector's edition of Need for Speed Carbon to gain access to those cars. You can imagine my disappointment when I found that out. I spent full price on that game because it was brand new. What a waste of 200 rand. I never wanted to see that game again. So I gave the game away to one of my friends at school. He was looking for a game to play, so I just gave it to him for free. In 2019, I decided to revisit the game and got a copy on my PC. And yada yada yada, blah blah blah, Hachi Gimel, and so on and so forth. That's not exactly what I'm making this video. No, this video is about one thing that I would have changed in Need for Speed Carbon. Over the years, I started to realize there's a few problems with the game, or there's a few problems that I've had with the game. One, the game was too short. At around 2007 as a kid, I remember my brother struggling to finish the game because he chose the wrong car when against Darius, the Gallardo. And to me, it felt like it took several weeks to finish the game. But in reality, it was just our parents limiting the time we had to play the game. But when I purchased it almost a decade later, I had finished the game in less than 3 days. Like, what? Excluding the challenge series, of course. And number two, what was the point of all the smaller crews if they weren't even utilized properly, other than to show how useless they are? I'm pretty sure there are more, but if I missed anything, please do let me know in the comments below. And well, let's get to business. What would I do different? The story. I don't hate the story because it transitions well with the ending of Need for Speed Most Wanted and wouldn't want to mess with it at all. But if I had to change anything, it would be how the rival crews were handled. By utilizing the crews much more, we could add more to the story and make it much more replayable. I mean, like the crews, the minor crews could have like a small role, kind of like how you have wrestlers who have this one storyline. They come back after a long time and they immediately want a championship run, and then you have one wrestler saying, "No, you can't go after the championship. I was here first. Get in the back of the line," kind of story. You know what I mean? Anyway, each type of car, whether it be muscle, tuner, exotic, has 3 tiers. We all know this, with tier 3 obviously being the highest. So why didn't we take advantage of that system? In each territory, there's around 4 crews. 2 smaller crews, the main rival crew, and the crew that you start with. The major crews, of course, are Kenji Bushido for the tuners, Angie's 21st Street crew for muscle, and Wolf TFK for exotics. And of course, the final crew being Darius' stacked deck. The minor crews in each territory are, for tuners, there are 2, Roto 4 and Scorpios, which are based in downtown Pelmont. For muscles, there's Inferno and Los Colibres. For both are based in Kempton. And for exotics, there's Black Hearts and Kings, which both are based near Fortuna. Each crew will be tier 1 and each main boss will have some kind of advantage against you, and it's your job as the player to beat those minor crews and claim their territories as yours and gain the final boss's attention. But the power of the vehicles of each crew will vary. Let's use the tuners for an example. Crew 1. Roto-4 cars will be stock with minor cosmetic changes and maybe like something like body kit 1, and will only have level 1 or street package tires and brakes. The boss will have street package NOS. Crew 2 Scorpios will be fully kitted out. Their cars will have body kit 2 and every single street package performance upgrade. Their boss's vehicle will be an entry-level tier 2 car that will also have every single street package performance upgrade. And the same will go on for both muscle and exotics, so you will have to adjust the way you play the game. This will add a bit of variety and a little challenge for the player. There will also be canyon races for the smaller bosses like we had for the final few races in the game, where you had to go up against the previous bosses, Kenji, Wolf and What's-Her-Face again, where they have much more powerful cars. The smaller bosses in each crew will eventually meet again in Fortuna and partner up with Darius to try and take you down, due to their partnership with Darius. All the cars that they will have will be tier 3 with varying modifications. And before you race Kenji, Angie and Wolf in their specific races, you participate in race wars against all 6 smaller bosses and some other crew members recruited by Darius. Like the original, each smaller boss will have a smaller part of the map as their territory, with the majority owned by the main bosses. For example, Blackhearts will have a smaller part of their map as their territory due to their skill levels and types of cars. Kings will have a slightly bigger territory due to them having slightly better skill levels and much more powerful cars, but ultimately TFK will own the majority of the town as they run the part of the city, and their vehicles are at the maximum performance and are the best in their tier. You will also be able to choose a crew member from each smaller crew as you progress, kind of like how you get Yumi, Colin and so on and so forth. Since there are a lot of muscle cars in this game, I might bring back drag racing from Most Wanted. I mean, god, just imagine drag racing on the canyons. Wow. I don't know why I said wow like that. What the fuck? Anyway, well, we could also bring tandem drifts, which would be fun, I think. I hope this makes sense, and I also look forward to hearing what you have to say about this idea. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your time. Till next time. Yeah, I did jump from the 2nd floor of my house, and I have injured my back severely. I may never walk again. Okay, bye-bye.